He's faster.
He's got poison.
Can't just put poison oak, it's can't prove.
Yeah. I figured it's what I was talking about, I talked that at the end.
No, he's broke up pretty good.
We had someone that burned a lot of wood that had, poison ivy on it, and he got an infection from inhaling it on the inside. They had to give him.
Bunch of steroids.
Yes.
Wow.
My grandmother, when she was a kid, somebody gave her eat it, she ate it, and she literally almost died from it. But then she was immune to it after that, she could just go in and pick it out and.
I used to do it now.
That's all good news.
And I don't, you know, I'm trying to steer clear of it.
We got our boat out at work.
Did you?
Yeah, they gonna make a rescue.
Did it float?
Yeah.
If you get a call.
Yeah, after.
leave.
Oh, you put some flex seal on, didn't you?
I can't put some of that, what
Hey, Leslie?
what's that sealer they put on that flex?
Can I
Yeah, you put flex seal
Well,
in.
yeah, can
I guess that's what they done.
One
That's what you
minute,
know.
I gotta start this.
Hello?
Here, you want to
Sign
see
for
the,
me?
you want to see the bottom of
No, 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 you're
the
fine.
screen? Monthly meeting of Muldraught City Council to order. Stand for a moment of prayer, please. Heavenly Father, I ask that you bless us, give us the strength and the courage and the guidance to operate and run our small community. Lord, we also ask that you are with those that have been devastated due to severe weather and recent flooding in our surrounding areas, our county and our surrounding county besides us. Lord, we ask that you all give us, you also cherish those and bless those that are in dire needs of medical attention and are sick and well-being in our community. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members present, Mr. Noon, Mr. Kelly, Ms. Wyken,
Here.
Mr. Scott, Ms. Hodge. At this time, I'll open the floor up to the public forum. If the public got anything they would like to say or discuss, please. Nobody in the public sector would like to discuss anything, we'll close the public forum. You'll have a copy of the March 10th regular meeting minutes. Need a motion to accept or discuss.
I make a motion we accept the minutes.
Got a motion by Mr. Kelly to accept the minutes.
Second.
Got a second by Ms. Hodge. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Reports. Mr. Jackson, you're up, sir.
You want me to go ahead and go over everything?
Okay, if you want to. sir, or might as well just knock it out while you're there, sir.
Using the monthly sheet, which is gonna change a little bit, get more detail, the responding calls, it was 45, 4 accidents that we worked, myself and the previous officer, we had 3 arrests, it was actually 4, there was one that he made as well. 6 citations totally that were issued, 1 domestic call, 1 reported theft, it was actually 3, I found 2 more, after these numbers. Traffic stops, there was 10, those would have been included in those citations. There was also something that had not been done here before, was there was 28 extra patrols done through the city parks, the new development, South Park and so forth. Those are your numbers for March.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Jackson for department report for the month of March?
There was 1 impound, correct?
There was, yes,
I forgot to put that
it was actually 2,
on. 2.
yeah. One was done out, was also.
Welcome to the city.
Mr. Jackson?
So a couple other things, so just an update on as far as body armor grants. I've done all the grant writing, my previous department, we have been awarded 2 different body armor grants from the state of Kentucky and Attorney General's office. One is for soft plate armors, we have 4 of those that are approved, and we also, the total was right at $12,000, no cost to the city. We also just got approved for a total of 5 officers, the second round of the Attorney General's hard plate grant program, which is roughly $40,000. That'll come with shields, exterior plates, a little heavier body armor in case there was an active shooting or something in the county. Again, that's no cost to the city. They set aside $15 million. My last understanding, it was close to $8 million left, so they're now going ahead and giving that out. I'll go ahead and skip down to the most important thing I want to discuss was body cams. And that is something that I think, my understanding, there's no department in the county that uses them. I've talked to the sheriff's department in Brandenburg, I think they're considering those. I'll explain to you why it's important to me. I've worn them in my departments, but these items, and you guys can pass them around, they can look at them. Those are 3 different items I took off juveniles here in the last 3 weeks. The city of Muldraught, all under the age of 15. The one handgun is a replica. They painted the end orange. One is a stun gun and one is an 8-inch fixed blade. 3 different individuals, 3 different juveniles, all had those on their person. The one call was actually 2 juveniles walking through Main Street pointing at houses. Obviously, it could have went really bad for an officer at night. I noticed the orange as soon as I did up, went through my training, there was no issue. But that's important with the whole body armor, and as well as the body cam, even more so. If there would have been a critical incident and there would have been a shooting, it would have been hard for KSP to come in and do their job if they couldn't see exactly what happened. They would have went off the victim's parents, the victim likely would not be here, and then my statement. Body worn camera is a necessity to do this job. It protects the officer, it protects the liability of the city, and it protects the person that we're dealing with. It also cuts down on complaints. If there's a complaint that comes in to the mayor or myself on me, then he can look at it and he can adjust it and address it. If there's one that comes in on an officer, you can adjust it and you can handle it, you can take care of it. So I have worked with Exxon once before and I got a grant approved. You guys can pass this around. So there's an estimate in there for 4 body worn cameras, which I'm hoping to have 3 officers myself. 2 are in the hiring process, in the testing phase, in the background part. I think additionally we discussed hiring another one down the road. The cost for 4 Exxon body cameras, I got them from roughly $30,000 down to $18,000. There's no interest. It's $300 a month. I've already obtained, it looks like about $2,500 in donations going towards that, but I should get a commitment in the next 2 weeks. If you do it annually, it's $3,600 every year. Also, I've applied for 2 body worn camera and consider. I think the first time there's a critical incident or there's an issue with an officer that's being accused of something, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to look at that footage, as well as it's going to save some liability if we get sued. So it's something that's I think we need to have, I think it's the new age. Those cameras are the best that you can get. They can't be edited by the officer, they can't be manipulated by the officer, and they're stored in Axon through their iCloud.
I got a question for you. On these cameras, how do they turn on? Are they automatic?
They will, well, the department I first wore them at, it was optional. You get out of the car and I still do it. I still tap my chest, turn it on. These will not work that way. They will go on when the lights go on. They will be automatic. They record a minute prior and to the end of the call. At the first time that it's audited and they've not been activated, that officer will be written up. The second time, there's grounds for termination. That's written in the policy. It's not optional. It doesn't matter if it's a call for medrun. That camera's gonna be on. It's gonna go on when they go into the jail. It's gonna be on when they're working. When they're in the restroom, when they're not on call, it's gonna be on. But when they're taking a call and dealing with the public in the city, or even backing up another agency, it's going to be on. The policy is written almost identical to KSP's, and that is, most of our policies have been adjusted to that. So there's no, you can't just turn it off, you don't want it on. It's not gonna work.
So you said when the lights go on, so what if you were
So-
trying to go call and,
You're gonna have to turn on manually. It's Bluetooth, and there's a bunch of different software in the way it sets up. I wore it and I knew our rules. It was pretty stringent, but it was based off KSP's policy. So they'll be very similar to that. They use Motorola. They do wear them on their hip. We will wear ours on our hip. Studies show that being worn on the hip, if you have to pull your taser, it shows the full spectrum of view. It doesn't show where the officer's head's moving to, but there's an additional PowerPoint that they just started using and started rolling out, that I priced it out today, that goes on your collar, that actually moves where our head moves. Because if we're looking here and the camera's looking straight ahead, it's there. So that, again, that's getting more in the administration in-service I had last week. That's something new that all the departments are adding to it. It's very cheap to do, but it's saving a lot of money as far as liability goes. That they can be, if we vote on it, we vote to go ahead and move forward with that cost. Like I said, I think the grants I can get, as well as an additional donation and another saving, I've already pretty much got this year taken care of for the first payment. And I'll go into that here in just a second, but I think it's something we need. I don't think it's really an option, in my opinion, or in my training. I think it will pay for themselves very quickly.
So at the present time, when I first come in here, I talked to the previous chief, Mr. Cadell, and I bought some cheap version body cams to get them through where they would have something they would record on. And the officer did wear those. Those weren't the same status as these are here, because at the time we could not afford that. We were looking at some other stuff. So Chief Jackson here has found this other avenue. I think it is something that is it's something that needs to take place. It's a CYA type deal for the officer. It protects you both ways. It also protects the public in a way that if complaints come in on that side, and it protects the public also. So yes.
Yeah, the cameras, that it can't be edited. It can be edited. Axon cannot. They're the largest body-worn camera manufacturer in the world, and their technology is state-of-the-art.
You said Axon?
Axon.
Axon?
Yeah. The other issue that I ran into is when I did an audit, and I don't want to come in and just try to throw things around and change stuff like that. Doing this job administratively is pretty easy when it comes to just following the rules and obeying the law, was the firearm issue. So there's some Glocks back there that the police department own that are about 14 years old. They're outdated. They're Gen 1 40 caliber Glocks. They're in really bad shape. I wouldn't carry one myself. The next issue you had was that the SIG handguns that they had back there were newer, but in somewhat poor condition. There are a few things in there you guys can look at. So the SIGs, they just got sued a few years ago. There was an $11 million lawsuit that was awarded to an officer that had accidentally discharged. The 320s and the 365s There's now been another 14 lawsuits that were filed in 2024 by both public and legal officers. Those handguns need to be reworked, they need to be sold and got out of here. They're extremely unreliable. I got a friend of mine, as well as a guy that I bought firearms from the past. He works with Kentucky Gun Co. as well as Master Ponds. He shopped around and got us a bid for the firearms we have back there and the rifles. The rifles are outdated as well too. He got a bid with the transfer of $4,000. That's $500 more than I could get trading these in at Kentucky Gun Co. To replace them is only half of that, because obviously firearms just went down. The rifles, hopefully they'll never get used, but we can replace them for a little over $1,000. The Glocks that I chose to go with, that's a pretty standard Gen 5, 17 9mm. It's what KSP uses and what several departments that I've worked for used as well. We can wholesale those firearms that are outdated and carry a huge liability just owning them, much as well carrying one, and replace them for half the cost. We can use that money that's surplus over of the $4,000 or whatever's left, which should be maybe a little less than $2,000, and place towards the body cam fund and go ahead and pay that along with the donation. We would still come out ahead, I believe, there. I've also applied for another firearms grant through KSP. It's an annual grant. I expect that to be approved later this year. We can use that for additional firearms. We can upgrade. We can then surplus these on that we buy. There's a ton of grant money out there, and I think I'm pretty good at getting it. I've wrote several grants, got them approved. My other department, I think I was almost $500,000 worth of grants that I got approved. Actually, we got a deputy hired as well, so I've got some good friends that write well, Brad, and then I left a message to talk to the lady at Lincoln Trail, work with her as well. So that's something that, you know, I'm asking you guys approval for as far as the surplus and updating those. It's gonna cost the city zero. We're gonna actually get money back, and lower our liability as far as what duty weapons our officers are carrying. The other thing I was wanting to discuss was the impound fees, and what I'm trying to do is get us to where we need to be with equipment, with liability, lower the risk of liability, so we can focus on doing what we need to be doing, and that's out here taking care of the citizens, but doing it in a safe and a very reliable way. Is the impounds. I don't know, I couldn't figure out when the last time that has been updated, but going off Meade County Sheriff's Department, I couldn't get an answer on Brandenburg's surrounding counties, their impound fees and stuff. I came up with a small increase on that would help pay for a lot of additional things, as well as help our budget and so forth. Because there's gonna, as we get active, there's gonna be drug seizures, there's gonna be impounds and so forth. It's not outdated, it's not been updated in a while, and I think the sign that was back there was pretty old that works now. But I put a copy of Little Metros in here, their whole ordinance and stuff. I spoke to that officer that's over the impound lot there in Louisville. He said what we're charging now is pretty inadequate, and it's well below the state average. And it's not a huge increase, but it is a small increase. Again, that doesn't affect the city any, it just affects the people that we have to impound their vehicle. And the copy of that is in there. Other thing was, we got a lot of surplus Leoso and Department of Justice equipment sitting in the city around here. The police department, that it's a great program that needs to be surplus and audited off. There's several trailers, a generator, there's a forklift, there's several different items based on what I figured on the book from the previous chief. He's got a list of the equipment that he had got through that program. All of the equipment that we own presently is set to expire at the end of this month. That means after the end of this month, I go through one more step process. They release it to us completely. We can then surplus it, take those funds, put it into the city's budget. And then get additional equipment if we need it and so forth. I think that's pretty much it. As I said, I've got 2, now it looks like 3 officers in the testing, the background, and investigation process. I've got another officer to actually help me do their background, because I'm not got a lot of free time every day, so they're scheduled to test this week, and then I've got another gentleman that's supposed to test in a few weeks after that.
So it's one of these other people we talked about before.
Now, these are now. And we're doing it a little different than it was done before, in a good way. When a new recruit comes through DLCJTs and their POPs testing, there's a contract that KCO requires for new employees that go to, whether it's a sheriff's department or a city police department. It used to be a 3-year contract through KCO. And that if that officer decides to go through the basic training, the city pays for him, it's gonna cost about $50,000. You're paying the salary, his equipment, and the schooling, everything. It's roughly on average through the state, it's about $50,000. If he gets out, if you don't implement this contract, which is pretty mandatory for KRS, that officer can go work wherever he wants to. Now, there is some departments that will buy those contracts out. I had my first one bought out when I switched departments, and it was $36,000. But it's cheaper to do that than it is a lot of times than trying to go through the 8-month process of finding someone, send them through the academy, and get them pre-certified. Doing it this way, we don't have to worry about someone that you want to hire and they can't pass the test or they can't stay in the academy physically. They're pre-certified through this program. Once they're interviewed by the city council and myself and the mayor, and they're hired, they are then sent to the academy. When they graduate, before they graduate, they sign a new KCO contract, which is mandatory throughout the state. It's what all of us are using. It's a 5-year contract. So they are required, and the gentlemen, the 3 that are going through this process, they are fully aware of this. It is told to new recruits in every department. You're gonna work here, we're gonna send you to the academy, we're gonna give you the opportunity, you're gonna give us your time. That's not to say they won't be bought out, or they could be terminated. But if they are here, it gives us something to kind of hold on to them with, as well as just treating them right. But that contract is now 5 years. It changed last year. The old contracts are no good anymore. So all new recruits going through DLCJT training, they now sign a 5-year contract. So you could possibly have 3 officers that, if they're treated well, and I'm sure they will be, start their career here and then leave at a later date. There is not, a lot of times, even administration changes, they stay because they want to stay, not because of the contract. The contract says, doesn't say, if there's a new sheriff elected or there's a new chief, the contract's null and void. It is a contract through the city of Muldraught and through the employment of the city. It does have nothing to do with administration. I think that's it.
And that's only for new hires. So if you get a lateral transfer, basically you're just hired in, you're already academy certified, that's a lateral transfer.
Because we're not paying the same number.
Yes, yes, and then unless, we have to have some in-service for all, that in-service training. So, yeah, that's on the lateral side.
Yeah, the laterals, we've got to do an annual 40 hours. I'm at 62 hours already this year, because I'm doing some extra training. Previously, we had KSP do a lot of the cases. My understanding, the sheriff's department, they handle all their internal stuff here. So I'm getting certified in child sexual assault and some other things, mental health and so forth, that I'm already certified. So I'm kind of adjusting to where I'll carry the load a lot more through certifications and additional in-services.
So, starting off with Chief Jackson's body camera request. So he said actually a little $300 some odd a month.
You can pay it.
Or an annual fee. He believes we've cut out a few things already in his budget that he opted not to use anymore. The previous chief wanted it. Mr. Jackson opted not to use it, so we've cut some services out that freed up a little bit of money for him. So that being the first thing, and I do believe our current budget will handle that, no doubt.
Yeah, if you figure in the money that we cut out in the MDTs, which was
Sure.
right at $1,400 a year in
Yes.
software, plus the surplus we'll have from the firearm surplus,
Yes.
that'll pay for this year.
Sure.
So, and then by next year, we'll have the grant, they'll be paid for.
Sure. So, council, can we get to, is something you all want to discuss a little more, or is it that's something that you all think that, I think we should be able to handle it, no problem, looking at the budget. It is something that is a necessity, I do believe, for today's society and law enforcement. And it's not just law enforcement now, this is also filtering down through emergency services totally. You've got a lot of your big city fire departments are starting to wear body cams also, and your EMS are starting to wear body cams also. Just because attack on a first responder is now a felony offense. If you get into a fight, that's an automatic felony. There's no, that's like not passing go in Monopoly, so.
We have so many people nowadays who are out to do that.
You're right. So, I guess if we want to proceed with that, let's get a motion to,
Is this just for the hip body cam?
this is just where that body cam can be worn, it can be worn here or on your
Your
head.
hip. I was saying that we're, in the policy, we're gonna wear it on our hip because it gives a better line of view.
Okay.
That's it.
So we've got a motion by Mr. Kelly to, proceed with the purchase of body cams.
Second.
Got a second by Ms. Hodge. Roll call vote, Mr. Noon,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Lyken,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Hodge.
Yes.
Motion carries. The firearm surplus, we have to declare those, everything that he's got right now, we have to declare surplus property, to you all. Then once you all declare surplus property, he can do what he needs to do to go along with, for sale of the surplus property, to purchase the current property. So if, you don't have a list of those, you don't have a list of everything.
I've got a list, I'll get that to them.
Okay.
Well, I do have a question about that. You
Yes.
said those are not safe given.
Well, they'll be remanded and refunctioned to the wholesaler, gun code, they'll be remanufactured.
Okay.
I'm not carrying a SIG, no. I'm
Well, I
carrying-
get that, but I'm just saying, I don't think we wanna sell something to somebody.
So it goes to a gun distributor in Barstown is where that's at. Kentucky Gun Company is who that is. They will rework that through their, they got a gunsmithing division in that group, and then they will resell those out as surplus, as actually,
But they're gonna do something to modify it,
Yes.
fix the
Yeah,
problem.
as a previous law
Yeah,
enforcement firearm.
we will transfer them over to Mr.
Yes.
Crump. Mr. Crump can decide whether he wants to sell them. He will go through Master Pond, or he'll go through gun code. That'll be him. When he meets me and signs, he's paying the $480 firearms transfer. That's totally them. They're as is 100%. He knew that going into it. I'm not carrying a SIG. I would not carry one. The firearm I carry is owned personally by me, because of the liability. If I'm gonna have to pull my duty weapon out, I need to know it's gonna work.
So if you could, it's up to y'all. You wanna go ahead and make a motion now to surplus that, or do you wanna see a list of what he's got to surplus first?
I just wanna make sure that we're not putting something out there to
Sure.
somebody else that's not.
Yeah, no, it will be reworked through a gunsmithing unit before it's even put out for resale, yes.
Yeah, there's 2 handguns, 3 rifles, and 3 shotguns. The shotguns probably never been fired, and there's absolutely no reason to have them. ETM just sold all of theirs. There's 0 reason. I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Kelly to surplus current firearms in the Muldraught Police Department to sell for, updated purchasing of new firearms.
I'll second it.
Got a second by Mr. Noon. Roll call vote, Ms. Hodge,
Aye.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lyken,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Noon.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, the DRMO stuff, once it comes off the books, he will come back to us next month probably, because it'll be done at the end of this month. We will surplus that property. That allows him to go, we use GovDeals, an online auction site. We will list that property on GovDeals. We've got another item to list on GovDeals also, an impound vehicle. We will sell that stuff out. And then, of course, that money goes back into the PD fund for their operational expenses. So that's as soon as it comes off his books, his audit. We've been using that program for several years here. It's paid off 2 or 3 police cars. It's bought some other stuff here also. They had it locked down for a little while. They've kind of opened it back up again, my understanding. So it's a good program kind of to get involved in. So, but that'll be once we get his stuff off his audit off equipment off the audit, then we can surplus that next month, and we can proceed to sell that through GovDeals. Anybody got any questions for Chief Jackson? Sir, thank you. One other thing on his department, if you all noticed out back, the striping has been removed from them other two cars with the light bars on. Mr. Jackson went and had all them vehicles detailed. A couple of them are in pretty bad shape. Need to be cleaned up real good, so he had all those taken care of. They've been cleaned up. And he's gonna present you all with a striping package, a couple three different options to look at, probably next month or so.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get some of the city's opinion on it as well too. I like them to be involved, the citizens here. It's nothing gonna be fancy, it's gonna be very inexpensive. All three of those vehicles were, like you said, pretty bad shape. So they've been cleaned up, they've all been serviced, they're all in a lot better shape. One of them's got a fender that needs to be fixed. I've actually got a donation. I think he's gonna donate his service and his parts to replace that for free, hopefully. It gives me a few weeks to get some things out there to see what everybody wants and get you guys' opinion.
So he'll bring it up there, that y'all looked at, and kind of go from there on some striping. It won't be too distant future, so think about it in this budget cycle. A couple of them has got some high mileage on, one of them's for sure got some higher mileage on it, and what we have learned from the past, if you can keep those things under 7 miles, resale value is a whole lot better on the internet market than trying to let them run up in the mid hundreds. And that's what that's what Mr. Noon kind of started when he got in here, to kind of rotate the fleet out where you didn't have something sitting with 175,000 miles on it. You kept it at a comfortable mileage, and then things went, resale value went a whole lot better. So that's something to kind of think about here real soon when we start doing some budget talks, to look about rotating out some of his fleet on some of his older stuff. So, okay, on the fire department side, you'll see calls for service was 26 for the month of March. He had 3 fire runs, 4 accidents, 3 alarm calls, and 6 assist other agencies. Some of that entailed some storm damage response due to some March issues we had with some severe weather. This month we will have a training audit taking place by the Kentucky Fire Commission. She actually reached out to me last week and was trying to set something up for Wednesday, but that date's not working out for a couple of us here in the county, so she wants to kind of do all of it at one time. Insurance safety audit, an ISO rating will be the 28th of this month. That's what sets the insurance rates through your homeowner's insurance or your commercial business insurance through your local fire department. Hopefully our rating stays pretty close to what it is. We've got one of the lowest ratings in the county at a 3 right now. I hope it stays that way. I anticipate it to go up maybe a number or 2 just because of manpower. So that's kind of what's going on over there. They're doing some ISO inspection stuff right now today, some inventory right now this evening. So any questions for fire department? Okay. The code enforcement officer's not here tonight. So her little report, so she had 34 open violations, 8 inspections, 11 reported late violations, 0 abatements, and 3 cases closed. That's what she's got for her monthly activity for March.
Do you know what the closed cases?
I don't know what the closed cases are.
She didn't tell me.
So for March, we purchased 2,509,000 gallons of drinking water, and we pumped 4,952,700 gallons of wastewater for treatment. Rain total was 5.19 inches. Distribution, we didn't have any issues. Collection, the generator that the mayor talked about a few meetings ago, it was delivered probably about a week and a half ago. We're just waiting on LG&E to extend the gas main to get that hooked up. That bad weather that we had a week ago or so, we had to go rent some equipment to prepare for that. If we lost power, and having this generator would help out a bunch. We won't have to worry about that no more. All we have to do is keep pumps running. So flow meters. We also talked about flow meters a couple months ago. There's 12 flow meters in a few trailer parks here in town. I wanted to go over some of the numbers with you all, but not all of them were running, so a couple guys from Grit came up and got those back where they need to be. So, the 6th of last month, I took a reading, and the 6th of this month, I took a reading. I compared it with our numbers that we take. You know, I keep all the numbers in a book. So, without going through all the numbers, because there's a bunch of them, the percentage that the trailer parks are contributing to our infiltration is 25%. So, including the rain that we had, the 7 inches, because that happened prior to the 6th. So we dumped a little more than 8 million gallons, and the trailer parks contributed 2 million gallons of that, so roughly 25%. So that's all right.
Any questions for Public Works?
So the whole city was 8 million and the trailer park was 2 million of the 8 million?
Yes.
Now-
Those three parks over 2 million gallons.
3 parks? Not just
So-
one particular?
The one that we thought was not going to be as bad actually ended up being the worst. So, that the rain that from the 6th to the 6th is including that big rainfall that we had.
Yeah.
Now, you're gonna see the numbers up quite a bit next month because those numbers were not included in on these numbers that I
Okay.
showed y'all. So, yeah,
I was wondering about that. 'Cause it was-
Yeah. so.
Any other questions for Public Works? Thank you, Nathan. So there's no old business to discuss, new business, to discuss. So years ago, we used to go around and do, every May, we did a citywide cleanup, large item cleanup. As you all are aware, our garbage contractor, Waste Management, provides large item pickup the first Friday of every month. So they bring a different truck here the first Friday of every month to do a larger item pickup. So if you got some things other than your whole house contents, if you got a dresser or something that you can put in some smaller pieces, he can dump in the front load of that other truck. They'll take some things on the first Friday of every month. That is no additional charge to nobody. On those days after that, if you got anything larger than that, you get on their website or call City Hall, and they will do a schedule they will schedule you a large item pickup. The first one, I think, is no additional charge. Anything after that becomes like $50 or $75. Yeah. So the week of May the 15th through the 18th, we will have 3 at least 2 or 3 30-yard dumpsters dropped in the impound lot by Waste Management through our contract. That is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday and Friday will be the hours of 8:30 to 4. Saturday we'll have the hours of about 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock. And Sunday probably the same hours, 9 to 2. Residential customers of the city of Muldraught only. That gives you an area to come fill up some 30-yard dumpsters and some stuff that the garbage company will not take on a normal pickup day. We'll pack those pretty tight, try to get everything we can out of them, and then, that hopefully gives everybody a little bit before Memorial Day weekend. So hopefully things will get cleaned up a little bit before then, for the holiday, and we can continue on. We used to do that week in May every year, several years in a row. It kind of went away from the May side of it. It went a little further in the year. I think May's a better opportunity to do it. It's right before everybody, trees aren't budded 100% all the way, so you can still see some stuff around it. So it gives an opportunity for you to clean up those 4 days. But those dumpsters will be in a locked fence. There will be somebody there at all time. We won't come get your garbage. You have to bring it to. We're not going to go this dumpster to keep it tight and make it work like it's supposed to. So, any questions on that?
Is there a limit on how many truckloads an individual?
I'm not gonna put a limit on that.
It says it's
Residential
not
custody, yeah.
business.
So I'm not gonna, you know, if you got and I kinda feel, and we did this when Mr. Noon was here, if you got a business and you're generating 52 couches and 50 mattresses and box springs, well, you can coordinate and take your stuff to recycle or whatever, or get you a dumpster. That's part of your business expense. I'm giving this to the residents of this town that don't have that business expense to get rid of those items that Waste Management, A, will charge them an additional pickup if they have to, or they'll pay to get rid of it elsewhere themselves.
Or they have
So,
a lot of stuff.
Yes, you know, we've got some people, we got some residents that's got some stuff that they need a couple of pickup truckloads of stuff brought to a dumpster, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think if you start getting it into the motels and all that kind of stuff, where they start bringing you all your couches, they wanna clean out their furniture that they've had stored in a warehouse or something for a year and a half, and they're gonna bring it to us, and these dumpsters can't take that. And we've only got X amount of dumpsters that our contractor's gonna give to us. Anything after that, we have to pay the fee.
So we're gonna require ID.
We pretty much know, pretty much know who the residents are. If it is questionable, yeah, we'll probably require some type of form of identification that you do live here. But I think most of us, I think Sam and Nathan, pretty much know who everybody is. So, but if it gets to the point where it's questionable, we'll ask you your residency, and we can double check that pretty easy, pretty quick. So, yeah. So, 15th through the 18th, City Cleanup Week.
What did you say you could put out on, would you say Fridays?
It'd be
Thursday and Fridays, 8:30.
it'd be Thursday and Friday
No,
from
no, I'm
about.
talking about just standardly aside from this. You were
So on
saying
the first Friday of every month,
You could put out, what were the items?
so you can put out everything.
Like a chair?
Yeah, you can put a chair
But
out
not a
because,
recliner?
yes. So you can put a recliner out.
Okay.
As long as it's not a whole sectional, your whole bedroom suite,
What about a love seat?
you can put a love seat out.
Okay.
Yes. So if you notice on the first Friday of every month, they bring a truck in that's got a dumpster attachment in the very front. It's a big yellow square box in the front of the truck, the first Friday of every month. The Fridays before that, after that, they bring a truck that just got the sidearm on it that they put your can up with.
Okay.
That's the truck that do the pickup. That's embedded in our contract already. So, you don't have to wait till, this. You can put a little something out there, a little bit here and there on the first Friday of every month. And if you look at that, it usually falls after a holiday. Like, you go to Memorial Day weekend, that's what's coming up here close, so it's on a Monday, okay, Memorial Day's on a Monday, so that Friday is the first of the month. So there'll be a large item pickup right there, so you can put some additional trash out there that's not gonna penalize you for large item pickup. About all your holidays fall that way. So,
Yeah, that was one of the benefits of going with them.
yes, that was exactly one of the benefits of going back to them.
They were the ones who gave
Yes.
us the best
Yes,
bulk pickup and the cheapest.
yes, absolutely. Any other questions on that? Okay, so the other thing I've got, and you all have got a copy of it. So you all have got a copy from Mr. Dean Dressel dated March the 14th, 2025. And it says, Lynette, third request. Give each Muldraught council person and Muldraught police a copy of this note. I want Mayor Lee and the other involved investigated for criminally cutting off my sewer lines on Wilson and Ball Street. Robert Sky, State Plumbing Inspector, here's his phone number. I want a response from the council and Muldraught police. And he signed it and give his number. You all got a copy of that. February the 12th, 2024, council meeting. Mayor Lee addressed an email that was sent on February the 8th to City Hall from Dean Dressel. Mr. Dean Dressel's email was regarding sewer lines that were cut off. He requested the email to be discussed at the City Council meeting. The email was read out loud and discussed amongst all City Council members. Motion by Kerry Likens, second by Deborah Noel to dismiss Mr. Dean Dressel's complaint about his disconnected sewer lines, that they are not valid and in violation of city ordinance. That their discussion follows through with previous discussions and decisions on reconnection of sewer lines. Motion carried by voice vote. Deborah Noel, yes. Jim Hebron, yes. Curtis Kelly, yes. Terry Likens, yes. Gary Scott, yes. So basically, same request, year later. So, this has been on for 13 years now. Same request, once a year. It's been discussed at several council meetings, been decided by this, the same decision that they made, city council governing body made on the 12th of February of 2024, 2 other times. So, city council, it's up to you. How do you want to handle this?
I mean, I don't understand what he's wanting. I don't get.
So Mr. Dressel claims that we illegally disconnected 9 sewer lines doing a wastewater rehab project we done back in 2012.
How many lines?
9 is what he requests, is what he says. There is not 9 lines disconnected.
Does he bring any receipts, any proof, any documentation?
We've got documentation.
But is he sending any documentation of any kind?
No, this request was wrote on the back of a deposit slip and give to us. So, Mr. Dressel's it's been discussed and reached out to him on numerous occasions for about 10 or 12 years that, he has clay tile. He has no different than anybody else. That's part of the 8.5 million gallons of water coming into the city. When we done our rehab project in 2012, it was February of 2012 when we started. We started at the south end of Wilson Street. We went through an area that he owned some property on. Groundwater was coming out of sewer lines that had been vacant for over 8 years. The property had been vacant for over 8 years. We put a stub out to the property line, put a cap on the end of it, went on. Mr. Dressel got sent the same form letter as every other citizen in this town got sent at the present time to fix their utilities, including a church. The church made an approach to me. Hey, can you give us about a month or 2? Let us get some fundraisers. We'll get some money together. They got enough money together. Church put a sewer line in. A lot of other citizens put sewer lines in. I put a sewer line in my house too. So a lot of citizens have done their due diligence and replaced their infrastructure. Clay tile is a problem. Clay tile is the reason we've got so much infiltration right now is because the residential service side and the trailer parks. 25% of it's coming from the trailer parks of infiltration to this community. Remember, we all pay for that. When it leaves and goes through that flow meter, we all pay for that through a surcharge fee, an infiltration charge. You see that on your utility bill. So, I feel it's no different than anybody else. That's just my feelings. But it's up to you all to decide how we want to handle this again. It's come up again, a year from last.
Yep, we had a vote last year, and I think it should just go ahead and do it like it was last year.
Make that form of motion.
I'll make that motion.
So we've got a motion by Mr. Kelly to deny the request of Mr. Dressel on his sewer lines on Wilson Street and Ball Street, as he states.
Wilson and Ball.
Wilson and Ball is what it states in his little letter here.
I'll second the motion.
Got a second by Ms. Hodge. Mr. Noon.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Yep.
Ms. Liken.
Yep.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Ms. Hodge.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, so this Saturday, the 19th, 1 o'clock, weather permitting, the fire department's gonna host an Easter egg hunt out here at City Hall. Again, weather permitting, right now they're calling for 85% chance of rain that day. This Easter egg hunt is funded by myself and my wife, no city funds whatsoever. We're putting this on. In the event that weather is gonna cancel it, it will not be rescheduled. It will be notified by 9 or 10 o'clock that morning if weather is gonna cancel the event. I'm not gonna stick a bunch of kids out here in this hole, in this front yard. It holds a lot of water, and we're not gonna get out there and splash through the water and take a chance of getting somebody hurt. Just not gonna do that. So, but if it's not, if the weather holds off good for around 1 o'clock, you know, if it's not raining real hard that morning and up to 1 o'clock, there'll be an Easter egg hunt out here. There'll be a couple, 3 different age divisions, with some prizes. Some for some smaller kids, so they get their chance to do what they need to do, and then the next little age group, and then the third age group, so the bigger kids can do what they need to do. There are some prizes there, so, for whoever gets like a little golden egg or whatever we're gonna do, so, but we'll find out what it does come Saturday morning. Again, if it's raining and it's not gonna be safe to be out here, we will cancel it.
He says we got here.
It's gonna be out here in the front, yes, out here in the front lawn of City Hall.
What kind of egg?
They're plastic.
Thank you.
Can't afford real ones. Yeah, they're all plastic. Mr. Noon, do you have anything, sir?
No, sir, I'm good.
Mr. Kelly? No, sir. Ms. Lakin? Mr. Scott? Taj? Ms.
We overlooked the impound.
Okay.
I didn't
So-
know if y'all wanted to.
So Tim, Chief Jackson give you all a impound schedule, kind of what our current impound rates were?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, what our impound rates were, they're $25 a day. So, and we have not changed that since we probably,
Me.
yeah, since we did change the admin fee of it and some storage fees when Mr. Noon was mayor. It's not been changed in several years. Yes, we are way behind the other surrounding areas that got impounded lots. Now, we didn't have a lot of activity there for a while, so it didn't really bring in a whole lot. Now, I think with the activity picking up, I do believe that will